We are live from Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube. Timeout Talks is brought to you by Chase and Throws Custom T-shirts and accessories, the Ice Shaker, and is also sponsored by Make It Mac. Tonight, we are talking all things playoffs in the Beantown. We've got two Boston teams on a quest, a dynasty, destiny of hoisting the trophies in Boston. We've got the Bruins, Celtics. We've got a pretty mediocre team in the Red Sox, in which we'll get to a little bit later in the show. We had Ohtani, the unicorn, come into town for Boston folks. That was quite the frenzy. We will touch up on that a little bit later in the show. There will be a segment for that. But first, we are kicking things off with the NFL draft, which is slated for next Thursday night. Last week, I made the mistake of saying me and Ben were prepping for the draft stuff to be this week. Next week, we're going to have our annual draft picks. We'll do our top 10 draft picks, how we think, our mock draft for the NFL draft, followed by our Steelers, Cowboys, and Patriots predictions for you guys. But first, tonight, we're going to kick things off a little juicy in the NFL. We're going to kick things off with a sleeper and a bust for the NFL 2023 draft. Ben, without further ado, you can kick us off. Whether each way you want to go, sleeper or bust, it's up to you.
Yeah, I'm going to go with a sleeper, Josh, first off.
Nice.
We gotta give a little shout out to Cam, too. Cam, hey, first, we see you, Cam. Cam over there first. Don't worry. We'll get to the Celtics too. We just want to start off with a little draft and everything. But
sure.
Hey, we gotta say the go Seas. Everyone's sending those go Seas texts right now. So hey, go Seas. But a little sleeper. I want to shout out the ACC for this one. I'm gonna go a running back. I mean, I know Josh might be looking for a running back a little later on the rounds. And I don't think the Patriots are. I think the Patriots are all set on running backs. They got they're 1-3 back in Ramondre. Josh loves that. Josh is a little lenient on Ramondre. I don't know if Josh thinks he could be a 3-and-down back, but we have a little fun with Josh.
Here we go.
A little fun with Josh on that one. It's tough. Listen, I decide on both sides of the fence on that one, but I think the Patriots can steer clear on Sean Tucker, but anybody else, Cowboys, even Steelers included, I think, if you get him later on in the third or fourth round, where you see these running backs typically go, you're going to get a steal. I mean, this guy's been phenomenal all 4 years at Syracuse, having his biggest year. The latest one, averaging 5.7 yards per carry. He kept Syracuse in this. I mean, he kept Syracuse
beginning, yeah.
Kept
them afloat for Josh, a while.
That's his voice. That's his
Put
voice.
Put a couple bets in on him. Me and my boy Zach.
There we go. See, I mean, and he was carrying that team. He probably won you a couple of those bets. But I mean, he's just going to be, we're going to have to ease him in with the receiving. He wasn't the best, reception wise. He caught about 36 passes last season. He was getting a little better with it. You're going to have to ease him into that side of the field for a running back. But I think, you give him a couple of years, and I think he's going to be one of the perennial backs in the league. Someone's going to get a nice little sleeper out of him. I'm going to go straight for this bus, Josh, right now. I'm going to put it out here. Jimmy threw this out there, too. I think it's going to be C.J. Stroud. C.J. Stroud's going to be the bust. It's just these Ohio State quarterbacks, Josh. It's a little different system over there. They're a little more nurtured and, protected over there. The more the coach and staff makes the decisions for them. So I think it's going to be a little rough adjustment to the NFL. He's not going to have that same protection on offensive line, so he's going to have to get used to. Obviously, you can build around that. You can get better, but it's just the Ohio State product, the Ohio State quarterback product, I should say. It's just not trustworthy, Josh. I'm just not going to trust it. Obviously, Josh has mentioned it before too. Before the show, we were talking. And it's going to be. I'm going with my guy Bryce Young. Bryce Young, I didn't take him over Stroud every time. I don't care if he's a little too small. I think he's just better. He's a better proven aspect in every sort of quarterback aspects right there. So I'm going to throw that one in there, a little CJ Stroud bust. I know people are saying they're pretty high on him. So I'm going to put that out there, Josh, and see if anybody agrees.
I like it. A lot of people at the beginning of the draft year or at least the beginning of the offseason, it was kind of who's going to go first? CJ Stroud, Bryce Young. There were some bets on it. I actually heard James today say, I believe Bryce Young is like minus odds now. He went from like plus 200 to minus odds. It's looking like it's leaning towards him. You never know. You really never know within the NFL. Last year, I thought Aiden Hutchinson was going to be the first off the board. Then all of a sudden, the day of draft night, it was Trayvon Walker. The teams are raving about him. The Jaguars feel huge about him. Executives, you get the gist here. I think just looking at the grand scheme of things, I think it's going to be Bryce Young who goes first off the board. I agree with you on that take. And I think CJ Stroud is going to be solid. I'm not as down on him as you and James. You guys are more the college experts. But one guy I'm not crazy about, and I know the intangibles, and the next Cam Newton, and he's great. Everybody loves the athleticism, and that's Anthony Richardson. I like him, Ben. I think he's okay.
My guy.
I think he might be a solid backup in the league in a few years, but I'm not sold on this guy. I've heard people saying, Will Levis, I don't know too much about. He's probably the one quarterback out of the main group there that I don't know too much about. I was watching on ESPN this past weekend. It was Bryce Young. They were doing like documentaries on Bryce Young. They were following him, Stroud, Richardson, and Levis. They invited them all to like the Archie Manning camp. It was pretty good. Great stories. I like Anthony Richardson. Great mentor. Looked pretty good. He's teaching some of the young kids the fundamentals. But I'm not crazy for this guy. I know some people are saying he could be the steal of the draft. Some executives have come out and said he could potentially be the first, depending on where he goes. Especially because, Bryce Young or CJ Stroud are going to be on a team like the Texans or the Panthers to start the year. But I'm not crazy for Richardson. Again, I know everybody falls in love with the intangibles, but I'm not falling in love as well. Zach has been a huge fan. Yeah, I got to get in here. Zach, huge fan of Hendon Hooker. I believe he was the one, actually, instead of Richardson, who was on the documentary. He was the one I like a lot. Shows a lot of poise. Had that injury last year, although he was off to that hot start. I think he was potential borderline Heisman trophy winner at the beginning before he got hurt. Yeah, he was the front runner, if I'm not mistaken. So, yeah, he's another guy. Sleeper. Could fall late in the draft as well. I'd say maybe second or third round. I know some people think maybe the first round. I could be completely wrong. But, Ben, what are your thoughts on that for Hendon Hooker?
Man, no, you're in the right ballpark with that one. That's where they're seeing him sort of go in sort of that range, second and third. But sure, some people have thrown a little first rounder in there. Some of these mock draft people trying to get a little creative. Listen, I like him. A little too old right now. I believe he's 25. I know he just turned 20. I believe he just turned 25, but still, it's I kind of, when you started with a franchise quarterback, you want to get a little younger. You want to get some of those other, you want to sort of get the mid-20s or the early 20s, I should say, sort of just build up over there. 25 is he's getting up there a little, by that end of the rookie contract, he's already looking at sort of near 30, so that might be an issue. But I like him. Nice transfer from Virginia Tech. Got a nice little home in Tennessee. He kept them as top 5 team. I mean, kept them in it all year in a very tough SEC. So, he's doing something right, Josh. But I got to give a little love to Anthony Richardson. That's my Florida guy, Josh. I think he does still have the biggest potential. I'm going to have to disagree on that one. I think he's still, I think he's just too big. I think he's just, just those physical attributes you can't coach. You kind of just born with them. So, I don't think you can get around that in the NFL. Him and Will, I'm just going to say that now. I have Will Levis in the bust category. Both of them really had kind of tough college years last year. Florida and Kentucky weren't the best, especially with the offensive line, which led to Will Levis getting sacked a lot. And Anthony Richardson isn't the most accurate guy to begin with, but that definitely didn't help him either. So they got to figure out those problems. But I think just based off that, I'm gonna take Anthony Richardson. That's the second quarterback I would take off the board behind Bryce Young. I think his just potential is just too
Interesting. So you're
big.
high on him.
Yeah, I'm high on him over there. I think you just got to get that coaching. I think a perfect spot, to be honest, Josh, would be Seattle. You wait. You got that Geno contract, which is perfect. It's basically, you're really only paying 1 year. The rest is sort of incentive based, and you can keep them around, but it's not going to kill the cap in that second and third year. Uh, and you just sit. I mean, Gino has been a vet in this league. He's gone through team to team, and he's finally found success. And actually found a home now. Finally, when many people doubted him, so I think he could actually help Anthony, in that aspect. People down him right now. And I think it's just a great place for him to learn and grow for a year or two. And I mean, Seattle got a nice little young defense over there. Wallen, Josh's boy, Josh is high on that guy. I mean, he had a phenomenal year. Going to be one of the studs on the defensive side for many years to come. So I think you get Richardson with that high pick from Denver. Capitalize on that. Sort of the Russell Wilson replacement. I know Geno Smith's been kind of the placeholder, but you get that guy that replaces Russell. And I think that just works out perfectly for them. So I think, just you didn't hear from me first, but if Seattle takes Anthony Richardson, I think that would be the best move for them.
I like that. I think you make a really good point there. You kind of have Geno Smith as that bridge guy right now to get you over the hump. He's shown that he can bring you to the playoffs. I mean, apparently, who's seen that coming from the Seattle team that was basically pretty much set up for rebuild, but hold the phone on that. They bring back Bobby Wagner. They're looking pretty good. And as you mentioned, Anthony Richardson might not go within the top 10. Teams love Zay Flowers is climbing up the boards. Of course, CJ Stroud, Bryce Young, Will Levis too. There's a lot of other quarterbacks in competition for him. So it'll be interesting to see where he's going to land in terms of, I feel like all the quarterbacks, besides Bryce Young, is pretty much a lock for the first pick. I know James had even floated it out there. He heard, even just reading stuff online, that the Texans might not even go with Stroud. They might go with Will Anderson. They might do something completely different. So, which I don't hate. They've went out and got Gardner Minshew. They have, I'm blanking. Who is it? Davis over there.
Davis Mills.
Yeah, Davis Mills. So
it's
interesting.
Get him sometimes, Josh. He's a forgettable guy.
Yeah, so they've also got their little placeholders there, but I like that. Another thing I wanted to ask, and I want to keep it open to you guys as well. Ben, we know who you kind of answered that, and Bryce Young being your top guy, even though he's undersized. I agree with you. I think maybe he's that first, besides Tua. I mean, Tua's still really hasn't fully proven himself, besides the only thing really in Tua's way is the injuries. Other than that, when he's on the field, he's been great. He's kind of been the best Alabama quarterback since Joe Namath when he's on the field, but half the battle is dependability is the best availability. But with that said, I think Bryce Young's probably got the best quarterback chance to be the best quarterback out of Alabama since Joe Namath. Other than that, let's turn to another core, list of prospects that a lot of people have been hyping about, and that's the wide receiver pool here, Ben. A lot of people are big on Zay Flowers, Atkinson. There's a couple other names floated out there that I just can't figure out on the top of my mind. Who do you have, Ben? I'm very curious to hear who you think is the best wide receiver in this draft pool.
Cam's loving that Joe Namath comparison. I'm loving it too. Listen, Bryce Young, hey, he's up there and everything. And I'll loop this into Nelson's question too. Lamar of the Pats.
About that. Yep.
I hope not. Listen, I mean, hey, if I was a Pats fan, I would be hoping for it. But listen,
I also think they came out today. It was either today or yesterday. They doubled down on Mac Jones, saying they want a fresh start for him. Having Bill O'Brien there, former offensive coordinator in Alabama, that'll help things out. So I think the Lamar Jackson thing isn't going to happen. I know James has mentioned this, and it is a great point. They're not going to pay Lamar Jackson. It's kind of a smack in the face to throw all this money at Lamar Jackson when you didn't do that for Tom Brady. I don't think Lamar Jackson really fits their scheme, their style either. I don't think it's going to happen at all. I think if anything, it would be more likely that they go out and trade for another wide receiver. Just want to throw that one out there because I completely forgot that Nelson commented that. And also Cam, I'm not doing the Joe Namath comparison. I'm saying he was the last successful quarterback out of Alabama. You can kind of argue if Tua has been successful. Ben, sorry for the interruption there.
Yeah, no problem. That was perfect right there. Yeah, the Nelson one. Listen, Lamar and the Pats. That's as Josh said. That's just going to be a little too much. The money's too much. Everything's too much. The price. What you have to give up. I think you got a good situation over there. Let's ride with Mac. Which is going to tie into this one. The quarterback, wide receiver class. Excuse me. I think the best one is Jackson Smith-Njigba, Ohio State. Just talent-wise, I know he sat out this past year with a big, injury sustained from the year prior, but he sat out. He's been healthy. He's been looking great on tape. So, like Josh had mentioned about Bryce Young, availability is the best. Sort of. I forget what that phrase is. Availability is the best out there. I stumped on that one.
Dependability is the best.
Dependability is best. Thank you, Josh. I forgot about that one. But we gotta see if he's out there. But the guy that's been out there is Zay Flowers, as I mentioned. So I think the Pats go get him with that 14th pick, and they get Mac Jones all these weapons. I mean, listen, if you got Juju, Mike Gesicki, listen, hey, I mean, Juju's all right now. I know I was kind of demeaning him, but that's still a solid weapon. You get Zay Flowers, or you just add another weapon. Then you start to pile up Ramondre. You got these running backs. Max running out of excuses. This is going to be his last year, especially if you get a wide receiver at this position. I mean, to be honest, even if you get if I was a Patriots, I would go lineman. I think you want to shore up that line. The Patriots, like I said, you got Juju, you got Gesicki, Kendrick Bourne. I mean, you got guys there still that can do some stuff. There's, like we said, this wide receiver class is deep. You can go get somebody in the second or third round. I would like to see them maybe go get like a Paris Johnson, offensive tackle. Peter Skoransky isn't going to fall to them, but get some of these other guys, middle tier linemen that are going to make some big differences for Mac Jones right away. Help the running game out too. So overall, and a way of saying that, Lamar to the Pats, I would like it if I was a Pats fan. I know some people don't, but I would like it. But to answer that question, Nelson, no, that's not. I don't think it's going to happen. And I think Lamar's just going to go back to the Ravens. We ended this whole saga. I think me and Josh have both agreed on it, I think at different times, but I think everyone's coming around to it now that just talked about it. It was fun thinking maybe go Carolina or somewhere else, but some of these quarterback positions are already drying up and already getting taken. So I think he's just going to go back to Baltimore. They got OBJ now. This AFC North is just piling up with wide receivers. So I think he's going to stay in Baltimore.
I agree with that. I think
that one in there, Josh.
Yeah, I agree, Ben. I think if you look at, where the quarterbacks have gone this offseason, there's been a lot of shuffling and not a lot of places. The Raiders went out and got Jimmy Garoppolo. That's off the list. The Jets seem to be very linked with Aaron Rodgers. When that will happen, who knows? So he's not going to go there. New England's already ruled it out. Seattle's all set. I mean, the Broncos are still locked into Russell Wilson. The Chargers got their guy. You look around, I mean, the Vikings, they're still doing the Kirk Cousins thing. The Lions aren't going to make any big splashes, even though that'd be kind of interesting, considering the fact that team's pretty young. They still seem like they're invested in Goff for now. So, again, I agree with you. I think the Ravens went out. They pretty much got an insurance piece right there, or at least a very enticing piece in re-signing Odell Beckham, or not re-signing, signing Odell Beckham. That brings Lamar over here, bringing that number one, whether he's going to use it or not. That'll be determined. However, I think he stays. That's the best option for him. That, like you had mentioned there, alluded to a little bit, that AFC North team needs to figure something out. They've got a pretty good coach over there. They've got a young defense, or, pretty solid defense there. They'll come around. On the other hand here, as we wrap up the NFL sleepers, and busts for the draft. One thing I wanted to kind of talk about here, it's kind of been big talk of the town. The Dallas Cowboys, Ben. I go back and forth. A lot of people, I've heard everything. As Jared has said to me about his Bills, it's the same for Dallas. People say they should go offensive line. They can't miss with that. Adding to that offensive line could be huge. They lost a couple pieces. Or you look to the defensive line, the run stuff. They haven't really had that last year. One of their biggest issues, which it's kind of tough to harp on them defensively, but their biggest problem was being able to stop the rush. Do you draft that? Dalton Schultz departure. Do you draft a replacement for tight end? Ezekiel Elliott's gone. You mentioned this a little bit, and you kind of hinted to it a little bit. Do you draft a guy like Bijan, or you wait a little bit later in the draft to draft a Sean Tucker? What do you do with the first pick if you're the Dallas Cowboys? What are you doing, Ben? Obviously, depending on who's available, but what are you aiming if you're the Dallas Cowboys realistically? I'm curious to hear your take on this. And then after you answer this one, we'll get to the Red Sox and a quick update on the Celtics, which Ben and I had mentioned we will be getting to early in the show, but it's not looking good early in the game. But yeah, Ben, Cowboys, first round pick.
Yeah, not looking good too, Josh. First basket to DeAndre Hunter. That was my second guess, of course. I put Marcus Smart. We'll just sprinkle that one in there a little. But if I'm the Cowboys, obviously, obviously, I'm just going to preface this. I mean, if Bijan's there, we got to take Bijan. I would like that, but ultimately, I would sign just like I would with Patriots. An aging offensive line. I know we just added Tyler Smith. You guys, I always start saying that. You guys added Tyler Smith. Let's go get another offensive line. This offensive line class is deep. Got a couple studs here. I think they can just keep adding to this. Obviously, that Zeke departure, Pollard's going to step up now, so let's get the most insurance we can with that offensive line. And, protecting Dak never hurts. It's never going to be a bad thing to keep protecting Dak and just keep trying to get that offensive line younger. So I would either, unless Bijan's there, just got to preface with that. I would go offensive line. Like I said, Peter Scranton's not going to be there, but there's plenty of other guys that the Cowboys can get and sort of have that Tyler Smith effect that he had this year. A solid player for them. Yeah,
very good for us.
There were some guys over there. These offensive line guys. It's always just important to grab them, plug and play. They can just change the whole team in the season. And the Cowboys already have the pieces around. You've already got CeeDee Lamb, Dak, Pollard. You already got your guys, Gallup healthy. You're ready to go. Another long shot, Dalton Kincaid. Tight end, maybe they'll replace Seth Schultz. I hear a lot of good things about him.
Waiting for the mayor.
He was afraid of that. I remember you saying that one.
Yep.
That's another good one. Another baby Gronk comparison guy, Josh. Another guy that everyone just throws Gronk in there. But listen, that would be another great pickup. I forget I should said that last week. That was a good call from you on that one. That would be great for them. Just another weapon for Dak too. He's decent. I believe he's decent in the block game. He's getting a little better, but he's just that threat in the air game, passing game. He's just going to be great for you guys in that aspect. Maybe help out CeeDee Lamb, take off some of the workload for him as well. So those are those three main positions for the Cowboys. I would go, but I would most likely again offensive line. Let's see how far some of these tight ends fall, running backs fall, and sort of just build up from that offensive line, Josh. So I'll go there for the Cowboys.
I like to hear, and that's probably, I would love for them to land a defensive anchor on the line, another offensive lineman, running back, tight end. Those can come a little later in the draft. I've been told that it's a pretty good, steep draft for running backs and wide receivers, especially wide receivers. Again, me and Ben, or shall I say Ben and I, will be giving you guys our annual draft, mock draft. We'll be doing the top 10 picks next week, so do not forget to tune in for that. That will probably either be kicking off the show or ending the show, so that'll be pretty much the main spice of the show next week. Draft and NFL oriented, as you would assume, NFL heavy show. However, we are going to touch up on the Celtics real quick. We'll be previewing the Celtics and doing live takeaways for pretty much the next 30 minutes. However, I wanted to quickly just talk about the Red Sox. They had an interesting little series here in Boston. They were able to take 3 out of 4, 8-9 right now, or 9-8, I believe. No, 8-9, 8-9. They were 8-8. Yeah, they lost the last one. They are 8-9. Having Ohtani coming to town. What should we expect from the Red Sox this season? Is the the question here I wanted to leave here for Ben, and I will touch up on before we move on. But Ben, what should we expect from the Red Sox, over 16 games into the season?
With this pitching, inconsistency, Josh. That's probably going to be hovering over this sort of marker below 500, above 500 a game or two. It's tough. Looking at some of this division too, I mean, the Rays coming back down to earth somewhat, obviously losing their first game, but still looking dominant, still undefeated at home. But the Yankees, Blue Jays starting to kick into the gear, Orioles too. I just think overall those teams are a little more talented right now. It's tough to say it, but it was encouraging seeing us take 3 out of 4 from the Angels. The Angels just kind of imploding at some points. Rendon having that huge double error game, and that I believe that was the game 1 of the series, and then just the Angels never really being able to bounce back until Shohei coming over and just, as Josh put it, the unicorn. I mean, he just goes out there and does everything. Started off that first inning with them, which led to the 3-run homer. Which is another thing for the Red Sox.
He literally just hit a 2-run bomb against the Yankees a minute ago.
He's just
unbelievable.
It just stinks, just to go off the side note. I mean, it just stinks for him and Trout to be over in Los Angeles, whatever it is now. Who really cares? Los Angeles, Anaheim, the Angels they just don't do a good job of promoting these guys. And they're just letting these generational talents go to waste. They got to get out of there. Everybody they brought around there just hasn't panned out. Rendon stinks. All these guys that were supposed to be the supporting cast to them have not panned out. Angels are just awful. I don't know what they're doing with this. I know Mike Trout's never going to leave. Shohei might leave. But it's just tough to see them over there, Josh. But little side note on the Angels. But Red Sox, it's encouraging seeing that 3 out of 4. Take advantage of the Angels. Let's try to take advantage of the Twins now. A little better team than the Twins, but this is a little better of a sort of barometer of the test. Seeing where this team is. But fortunately, Josh, I just don't think with this pitching we're going to be able to go anywhere. You've seen all these late inning games, sort of late game heroics. That's what we're already having to do, and I think it's just going to tire this team out, and we're not going to be able to go the whole season like this with teams like the Yankees, Rays, Blue Jays, Orioles, and the division's too tough, Josh. It's looking good for the Yankees, but not so much for the Red Sox. It's all right though. We'll bounce back. But big series right here, Josh, with the Twins. Got to take this series.
Oh, for sure. They're a tough team. Yankees just finished their series with the Twins. I actually as you may know, I've been covering the Boston Red Sox for Fansided. I've done a little bit of research, and the pitching has kind of balanced out. Right now, the Red Sox, surprisingly, even though the roller coaster ride to this early start of the season, they are actually top 10 in relief pitching, which is really weird. Their ERA is 3.52. That's been something that has been a huge concern. Caleb Ort starting out, Ryan Brazier, who played very well to finish that game against Mike Trout, going up against Ohtani. I think this was Saturday or Sunday. I think it was Sunday. They've kind of mellowed out. They've balanced out a little bit. Some of the issues have been the starters. Brian Bayo came in yesterday, didn't have the best of performances. I'm not going to knock him too much. He's got some great stuff. Not too thrilling for one of probably your biggest prospect in recent years, Brian Bayo. They've got huge hopes for him. Didn't really come out and show a great outing last night. Same with Chris Sale. You talked about this a little bit earlier, Ben. He needs to be big tonight. This is a big series. You've got to be big. Your ERA's 11 right now. Just hasn't been great since 2018. I want to throw that out there as well. We'll be talking about Chris Sale for a lot because things are going to die down and it's going to be a lot of baseball. We'll get to him later. He needs to be good tonight. All eyes are on him. It's put up or shut up time. You've got a couple starts in your system here. You need to be good. Like, I'm calling you out on the podcast because enough is enough. You're supposed to be the ace. You're not even playing anything close to it right now. But I'll wrap it up with this. I think what we should expect from the Red Sox is a middling team, middle of the pack, somewhere between 15 and 17 within the league. And, Cam, Chris Sale should be arrested by Boston Police Department for fraud if he sucks. He needs to be good tonight. It's just enough is enough with the belly button ring injuries, the broken pinky fluke. Like, I get it. You had just a tough injury last year in a bad lucky thing, a weird stint, but you've got to be good on the mound. Like, we're 3 or 4 games into the season this year. There's no more excuses. I don't care what the weather is. I don't care what team you're going up against. I don't care who you have surrounding you offensively. Your job is to not allow runs. You got to be good for the Red Sox tonight if you even want to be mentioned as a top player on the team anymore. It's not even, he's lost his status as one of the best pitchers in the league. I'm off that. As you can tell, I'm hinting towards a potential Chris Sale article. I'll be right soon. But anyways, I think the Red Sox, what we should expect is maybe a late push. Real desperate push for a wild card spot. I don't think that they touch the division. The Rays, Yankees, Blue Jays are all just too hot right now. Blue Jays too, first team to beat the Rays. But I think the Red Sox, and Cam mentioned it too, they need an ace. And they need somebody who's going to come out and just, give you those dealing outings where you're just absolutely dominating on the mound. And this is what I'm going to wrap it up with. He's an ace, and I don't want to hear the excuses from him. You just got to do your job. So we'll see what Chris Sale can do on the mound for the Red Sox tonight. I expect them to be middle of the pack. I believe Ben was kind of saying the same. So we will give you that. However, I will give we'll go Celtics right now. We'll come back to them too. We'll give a quick little update just because they're going on right now. They started at 7. It is the end of the first quarter and things are looking a little bit better. It's 28-25. We're going to be starting the second quarter right now. Trae Young and the Hawks went off to a little bit of a hot start to begin. Threes all around. John Collins getting a couple nice offensive and defensive rebounds. If you know why I'm giving him a quick little shout out. But some of the role players for the Hawks and defensively, were off to a huge start. We saw the on the bottom of the screen there, a huge stat, which I think really kind of takes away from me. The Hawks rank second in the league in terms of field goal percentage outside of the 3-point arc. The Celtics rank 29th. Flip-flop. The Hawks rank 30th from beyond the arc within the league, field goal percentage, 3-point percentage wise. And the Celtics are first in the league, or second in the league, I'm sorry. So, first. It was second. I'm sorry, it was second. So, don't settle for don't settle for too many threes, but make the good threes. The Celtics have been great in transition within the past, I want to say 5 minutes. The Hawks were on a 4-minute drought without a point, pushing 5 minutes. So the Celtics have turned things around. They're up 31-25 right now. Just wanted to give a quick little update, and we will talk a little bit more about the Celtics in a little bit. We'll wrap up the show with them. We got the Bruins, but I just wanted to quickly get that out there, Ben. And you can have some quick little live thoughts if you want as well.
Yeah, been hearing Brian, that nice little 3-pointer, 10 to quarter. Sort of like as Josh mentioned, the Hawks came up firing a little. I was expecting the Hawks to do that. Listen, kind of embarrassed them in that first game. I know they kind of came back. That was a late game stuff. I want to see the Celtics sort of hone in more. Late game, sort of protect that. We're up 30 points, sort of let them get back into it in a way. That game one, it wasn't, I wasn't scared of them. I didn't think we were in jeopardy or anything, but this team could get lackadaisical at times. So I wanted to see them do that. I want to see them sort of sure up that this game because the Hawks were going to come out there. Then they're going to punch them in the face, and they did. And I'm just glad we could have rebounded from that. We bounced back, went a nice little 11-0 run. As Josh mentioned, second quarter started. Got the lead now, so let's build on that. This is a scrappy Hawks team. This is I think
Very
after that
well.
first game, people thought, yeah, I think people thought we're going to run over them. And I think we could be looking at a sweep. But I think it's going to be a little tougher. Than these games are going to be a little scrappier than people think. So we're going to have to be prepared. I still got Trey Young, and as Josh mentioned, John Collins grabbing both boards on both ends of on the court. John Collins, shout out John Collins. Uh, those guys doing all right over there. Andre Hunter having a nice game as well. As Josh mentioned, we'll end with the show with that one. We'll give a couple updates in between, but we got to get to the Bruins because the Bruins looked pretty good last night, Josh, and I'm excited.
Good, Ben. 3-1 victory. They same kind of similar to this Celtics series here. They Panthers showed some very good plays there. Their goalie, Lyon, first career playoff game, and I mean 3-1 at the end. It could have been like 7-1,
Yeah.
5-1. He stole a couple huge saves for them. However, Panthers and company, Lyon and company weren't able to score too much offensively. However, they were kind of the aggressors at some points in the game there, Ben. Just looking at the stat sheet and the box score isn't everything, but a lot of the game, the Panthers were out shooting us. It was real hockey, physical playoff hockey, basketball hockey there from both sides of the ice there. Gonna switch the graphic. But yeah, I thought the Bruins played very well. Ullmark, unbelievable. Saved 32 out of 33 shots. Again, Ben, this has been something I've highlighted throughout the whole season. The goaltending needs to be huge. No Bergeron last night. Looking like he might not be there for game 2, but the company was fine. Krejci slotted right into that center spot. The first line was great. Taylor Hall looked good. Marchand with a goal. So the boys are buzzing in Boston. It was a great start. I'm feeling good. I think that this series goes to 5 with the potential of 6. I just think Florida's got some good talent over there. Ekblad, the goalie, to Chuck. He had a goal as well. They've got a couple other pretty good players. And yeah, big game from Nick out of the comment here from Nick, big game from Bertuzzi as well. But I think the Panthers can push us to maybe 5 or 6 games. I liked what I saw, and I'd love to see the goaltending from Ullmark continue because that's literally what I think is half the battle here. The Vezina winner there, as he rightfully should deserve, was unbelievable last night. But loving what I'm seeing out of the Bruins to start then.
Yeah. I mean, like you said, Mark, you highlighted all year too, Josh. I mean, it's just been unreal, and that sort of game just encapsulated it all. It was just phenomenal for us. You mentioned it could have been 7-1. It could have been probably like 7-4 too. We had a bunch of chances too, but the Panthers had a bunch as well in the second period. Got a little hectic. It felt a little more controlled to the Panthers' way, but I mean, you just got to credit Olmark and the defense for controlling it. Shout out to Leon for that. First career playoff game going into the Garden. That's one of the toughest environments to play in. We played very well. Played very well. That second goal, I know people will get on him. It was a little softy, but he bounced back. Nothing you could do from that. He stepped up after. He didn't go in a shell. He didn't hide. The Panthers scored right after that. They got right after the attack, and they just put on us, scoring, making it 2-1. But this Bruins team's just resilient, Josh. And this game just sort of showed it all over again. I think we could possibly be looking at a sweep. I know this Panthers team. I'm telling you, this first round, I think, is going to be very successful for both Boston teams. Panthers, this talent's great and everything, but I think this Bruins team, just even without Bergeron, is just rolling so well. I just don't see them being able to crack the code with us and trying to just get over on us. I think we got just better everything, better defense, better offense, better goaltending right now. And that's saying something because this Panthers team is talented. So, uh, hopefully we get Swayman back. Hopefully Swayman gets over this illness too, and hopefully Cam's take, yeah, if with the hot take with the Bergeron, if he's really hurt, I don't know about that one. Yeah, yeah, I don't know. I don't know why they would do that, Cam. It seems a little weird how this team's getting sick right now. One of the most important parts of the season. I don't know what we're doing. We're bringing around this people around. If you're sick, you got to sort of stay away from this team. We're kind of in playoff mode, so I'm kind of confused on how we get these illnesses right now. So maybe he's right. Maybe there's a little more injured, and maybe there's a little more to this injury, which I would not like to hear. But I think so far, Josh, without Bergeron, and I guess these illnesses from Olmark and all them, I'm pretty happy. I'm pretty solid. I'm excited for the series going forward. I think we're in a good spot right now, Josh.
I agree. I think, and one of the players I was blanking on, Barkov, he's great for the Panthers.
Oh,
I think, just looking at both the teams, and again, we've kind of touched on this a lot from week to week with the Bruins. It's just depth. Like this team, I just looking at even just the box score, like Bertuzzi got on the points on the sheet here. DeBrusque, Krejci, Marchand, McAvoy, Orlov, who is not afraid to throw some punches, Pasternak, Zaka, who's been unbelievable. That's almost half the team is getting on the stat sheet in some way, whether it's a goal, assist, or a point. From top to bottom, this team is legit. I think one thing that, Bruins fans gave a lot of the ownership and upper management a lot of slack for in recent years was not going out and pulling the trigger and making moves. This year they pulled the trigger. They went out, got Bertuzzi, they got Orlov, and these guys have fit in like gloves. In recent years we've seen even Taylor Hall's first year in the playoffs, it didn't really work out. He was great. He's Taylor Hall. He's probably my favorite Bruin, to be honest, but he didn't quite mesh in the playoffs. This year, you're seeing everybody's meshing. Everybody has a role. Even David Krejci, who spent, I think it was like 2 years or a year off from playing hockey. He's out here. He's getting an assist. He's getting shots on net as well. Orlov, Bertuzzi, all these newcomers have a role, Ben. And I love it. They're playing physical. This Panthers team is a sneaky team. Even just talking here on the live show, I think the Bruins do get it done in 5. I said 5 in the beginning. Same with the Celtics. I think both the teams win in 5. They're too destined. These two teams were just kind of, pushing for the Stars to be in the second or in the conference. I think both of these teams, if you could make a bet for both of these teams to go to the conference championships in their respective leagues, that'd be great. Even to hoist the trophies. I don't want to be that guy, but there's a real strong potential for that. And as you mentioned, Swayman's out. Bergeron's out. The captain of your team is out, and I don't give a crap what anybody says. Bergeron is the heart and soul of this team and will fit in perfectly. He's probably their most important player. He was the beginning of the struggles and the worries that we had at the beginning of the year when they lost Bruce Cassidy. You didn't know what was going to happen with Krejci. Bergeron was a free agent. It all started with him, and it's all going to end with him when he joins the team back. Ben, I'm buzzing. We got another game tomorrow night. I think you go up 2-0. Maybe you lose one in Florida. I think that there is a real potential for a sweep. I've got a weird feeling tomorrow we're going to dominate. I'll say like a 4-1 win, 4-0. Maybe 5-2, something. I feel like the floodgates are going to open tomorrow. I really liked what I saw from the Bruins, and I thought in some of the game they didn't play to their full ability. They were being outshot by the Florida Panthers, which is kind of unheard of with how good we are offensively. I don't think that's going to happen tomorrow. I don't think that's the case. I think at home, Olmark is going to show why he's the Vezina. They're going to lean their cap to him. I know Swayman's not ready as well, but still furthers the point there. And, just Even defensively, this team, unbelievable. You're seeing guys on defense getting points and assists. You can't will happen. I'll say 5-2.
5-2. I like that, Josh. I like that. I'm gonna go 3-2. I'm gonna go 3-2. I think it's gonna be just box score close. I think box score close. I think we're gonna dominate. Yeah, I think we'll put a couple on us. But this team is just too good. I think this team is just gonna overpower them. And get ready to just keep moving on. This team, I just don't see. Like I said, I don't see where the Panthers getting by us. It'll be a tough one, obviously. Like you mentioned, Barkov. I mean, this team's got talent. This team has still got some people over there. Like you mentioned, Chuck having a big game for them last night.
Big time.
Yeah, I mean, that's still a perennial player out there. But I think this team is just flowing so well. Doing this without Bergeron. We're gonna get ready for him. I think we're gonna get nice little lead in the series for him to get pumped, come back hopefully sooner rather than later. I know, sort of can't put that in there. I don't know. I kind of trust Cam on that stuff. I don't know. Hopefully it's nothing a little too bad for that Bergeron injury. Hopefully they're not just covering up something here, trying to deflect the story. But it's looking a little tough on that one. But I think we win 3-2 tomorrow. I think I'm going to stick with the sweep, Josh. I think we sweep the Panthers. I think this team, I don't know, I'm feeling really good with the first rounds for both Boston teams. I think we really got good matchups, and we're just flowing right now. I think we're both just hitting our strides, and like you said, we don't even have Swayman back, so I can't wait to get Swayman back in here so we can ease up that workload for obviously I'm trying to ease up. I mean, it's the playoffs. You're giving your all, but we don't want to throw Olmark out there too much. I know last year he kind of had a tough playoff, so it was good to see him bounce back this first game and get it going. So I'll put 3-2, Josh. I'll get 3-2 for the score tomorrow for the Bruins.
I like it. A little bit of a closer contest there for Ben.
I'll get the win.
As we've mentioned, we're going to end it with the Celtics, and we're going to give you a quick little update. The Celtics have retaken the lead. I believe it's 46-40 or 48-40. I was just looking at it a second ago, but I looked away. We have not had a show since the Celtics had last played. Game 1 looked good, Ben. Jaylen Brown, leading scorer, 29 points. I believe he was the leading scorer. 29 points, 112-99. As you mentioned, you alluded to a little bit earlier in the show. Celtics ran out the gates, and then towards the end, the Hawks started to come back. And this Hawks team has some talent. They've got John Collins, DeJounte Murray, Trae Young, Clint Capella, good defensive anchor, as you've seen him have a couple blocks today in today's game. This Hawks team, Ben, they're pretty good. I think, honestly, I retract my last take. I do think that they're better than the Miami Heat. I think they were the best play-in team. I do. I really do think that. I know some people want to argue and say, the Heat just kind of had an off night. I think they're the better team than the Heat. As you saw, Tyler Hero go down, broken hand. Tough start to the NBA playoffs with that. But I like this Hawks team. I think that they have some depth as well, but again, it's similar to the Bruins here with the Celtics, where there's just too much depth with the Celtics. You're looking at Derek White right now, who was a number one, arguably, on the San Antonio Spurs. He's coming off the bench. He's sometimes starting here for the Celtics. Malcolm Brogdon as well. He was a 2 or 3 on the Pacers. He's probably like a 4 or 5 on this team.
That's my guy.
It's my guy too, Ben, who's been the most consistent Celtic on the year. I believe that. I don't care what the stats say. This guy, night in and night out, day in, night out, he has been unbelievable for the Celtics. Again, there's too much talent on this team, Ben. You take this team from last year and you take this team from this year, the bench. Sam Hauser's getting his minutes. He finally looks like that, that 3-point shooter that we've just needed. That 3-and-D guy, and again, his defense isn't the best, but that guy who just can be a spark plug off the bench offensively. He's been huge. Derek White, we finally have a facilitator in Brogdon. Again, this team is another team that's super, super deep with depth. You look at Rob Williams. If he can stay healthy, he's going to be a big factor in this game as well. Watching some these plays here with him off the court. You're seeing Clint Capella and guys having their way on the glass. When he's on the court, not so much. But I like what I'm seeing out of the Celtics. Again, adversity, and this is what a number 2 seed does. You come out the gate in a playoff game at home where you should be fired up. You're out the gates. You're down 11-5. I think it was like 22-11 at one point at the beginning before the Celtics took a timeout. Then you regrouped. You found yourself up, leading the second, going into the second quarter, and now you're leading by 6 points in the second quarter right now. Things are looking good, Ben. As my buddy Tyler Mahar says, things come in bunches, and that's why the Celtics were able to kind of calm down. Marcus Smart hit a couple threes to hit a big 3 to kind of get them rolling here. They're just too deep, Ben. I think they're going to be fine. Jaylen Brown took a 3, airballed right there live on the show. But 48-42, we're looking good right now. And again, I'm feeling 5 games. Maybe a sweep.
Yeah. I feel the 5 games, Josh. I think this Hawks team is just a little
Take 1.
Well, yeah. I think we go 5. They win one Atlanta. It's just I think this team is just they got talent. I mean, Trey, we mentioned John Collins, Capella. I think I think the Celtics team, just much like with the Bruins, just can overmatch them in the talent wise category. And I'm excited. Rob Williams out there playing healthy. He's ready to go. I'm excited for this team. A little tough beginning, like I said. I mean, they're gonna come out here, they're gonna try to give us their best shot over there and everything. So I'm excited for this Celtics team. Good to bounce back. Like we mentioned, double check right now, 48-42, 50-42. So
Brown
got that solid lead now. Yeah, we got that solid lead now. So let's just keep it going with Jaylen Brown. I liked what I saw from him in game 1, as you mentioned. Let's just have Tatum get around too. I mean, if Tatum can get it going too, that'd be perfect for this team.
And one thing, I also wanted to get to the comments here from Combat Energy hopping in here. First time viewer. Love to have you in. Appreciate the support to Twitch here. Who is taking the Stanley? The Bruins here. That's okay. I know we switched over to basketball. That's totally fine. You might have missed that quick little segment earlier. We were raving about the Bruins. Boston Sports Podcast here. I'm going Bruins to win the Stanley Cup. I can't speak for Ben, but from top to bottom, we talked about it. Vezina Cup, potential winner there in Allmark. The dual goalies, the captain, Patrice Bergeron, my guy. From top to bottom, offense, defense, Charlie McAvoy, Lindholm, excuse me. I think that there's no team in the East that can contend with this Bruins team. Sorry. Maybe there's a team that can take us to 6 or 7. And then if you look in the West, that's completely up for grabs. I think as EA Sports, NHL had it, I think the Bruins beat whoever they match up. And I think EA had them beating the Kraken in 5. I'll say that they beat the Oilers in 6. I like maybe Connor McDavid, best player in hockey. You got to assume he can bring them finally to the Stanley Cup. But yeah, I like. Oh, there we go. We got an Edmonton fan actually saying they failed last night. But yeah. Oh, yeah, okay.
I don't even want to talk about it, Josh. I don't want to talk about that Oilers game. That was a rough one for me. That was last leg of the parlay. Yeah.
2-2. They were up 2.
Yeah, they were up 2-0. They were up 2-0 going into the third, and then they scored, and then it was 3-1, and then Kings just scored with. Made it 3-2 with 8 minutes, and then 16 seconds left. They scored a goal. 16 seconds left on 6-on-4. One in overtime. I just think another one, like the Maple Leafs, Josh. Edmonton just can't get out their way.
Beautiful comparison. Excellent.
It's just the Western Conference version of them. All this great talent, but I don't know. They just can't just get out of their own ways with this one. There was just awful time to take a penalty at the end of the game, and I don't know. We're now going to have to come back, win a game at Edmonton. You can't go back. You can't go down 2-0 and go to LA over there. So just getting back to the question too. A little scared of the Wild. The Wild were in a thriller last night. Double OT. Yeah, double OT with the Stars. The Stars are no joke. And they took it to them in Dallas. I know a little cheap shot on Joe Pavelski. We got to check with Joe Pavelski. that's going to be a major storyline going forward in that series. But for one of those teams, like you said, I mean, I hate to keep agreeing with Josh in that one, but I mean, I hate to keep just saying this, but I mean, it's just teams out there. I just can't see anybody able to challenge us too well. I mean, there's obviously going to be some teams out there, but I think we're just the clear cut best team out there right now. Is just kind of who's going to take us down. So I like the Wild out of there. Avalanche are always solid. They're playing they're playing tonight, so I can't. I'm going to take the Wild, Josh. I'll take the Wild in that one.
That's fair. I like that. And I have a question here for Combat Energy coming in with a couple comments here. I want to say one bad call and a bad penalty. Penalty killed us last night, plain and simple, undisciplined. I want to see Edmonton and Boston for the Cup. That'd be great. That was kind of my prediction there. Combat Engineer. Sorry, thank you for the quick little... sorry for the mispronunciation. Celtics up 61-46 also. We will get back to them.
Oh, that's good.
Combat Engineer, I got a great question. Me and my good friend Tyler were always arguing. I have a soft spot for some of the old guys, the Ohtanis versus the Babe Ruths for baseball. You've got like Michael Jordan and LeBron comparisons. I got an interesting one. And two of these guys just so happen to play for the Edmonton Oilers. And I wanted to ask you one here. When it's all said and done, who do you think is going to be the greatest hockey player of all time? And we've had a little bit of this discussion right now. I lean towards the greatest of all time, Wayne Gretzky. My boy Tyler is a huge Connor McDavid fan. I've heard him even go off to say Connor McDavid is better than Crosby. Already he will be. That's just super disrespectful to Crosby, and I'm a huge Crosby fan. But who do you think will be the best Edmonton Oiler of all time? Maybe, Ben, you can chime in here while we give Combat a second to answer this. But I think it's Wayne Gretzky right now. And, I mean, his stats are just unbelievable as well. I know people will make the argument, they didn't have as many pads back then. But I don't know. I'm a Wayne Gretzky. I'm an old-timer, too. In my young soul, I'm an old soul as well.
I'm with you, Josh, on that one. Yeah, I like that take right there. I mean, it's just the stats are a little too hard to beat for him on that aspect. I think he's just got too many goals, too many assists in that one. Like you said, I mean, hey, wasn't as much padding, but I mean, some of these stats are just crazy. He just scored too much, and he was just phenomenal. So I get what Tyler's trying to do. He's trying to be the young guy. He's trying to be the young guy, stir the pot a little, but. I guess you can make sort of more of a claim for the Crosby one. I could sort of see the argument there, but I'm still gonna have to side with Josh. Yeah. You got to give it to Crosby right now. He's won more. I mean, David's just got the stats. So I mean, Crosby's got the stats, and he's won more right now. Will McDavid have more of the stats? Who knows? But ultimately, I'm gonna go Gretzky. You got to go, like you mentioned, the great one.
Combat.
So yeah, you can't. Yeah, you can't. There you go, Combat. There we go.
In Combat, Engineer agrees. The GOAT. Gretzky will always be the GOAT. Connor will and might beat all time Gretzky's records over time. He is beyond awesome, but time will tell. I agree. I think McDavid is the best player in hockey right now, undisputed. The last couple of years, I think Austin Matthews is pretty good as well offensively, but I think McDavid's the overall package, the best player in the league. But I honestly think that Gretzky is the better player right now. Time will tell. And again, you have to win that Stanley Cup. It's wide open in the West, in my opinion. I think that you have the balls in your court, the puck's in your ice. We'll see what happens. I think the Oilers have a great chance. As Ben has mentioned, they've kind of come up short a couple times. But again, we are wrapping up our show. Again, Combat, want to welcome you in next week. Come join us next Tuesday, 7 o'clock. We'll be talking some more NHL. We're going to be talking the NFL draft next week. We'll be recapping some Red Sox, some other stuff, some more, maybe hopefully get into some more basketball and hockey playoffs for you guys as well. I'm going to leave it off to Ben to wrap it up. But again, next week we will be doing some NFL stuff. Again, just want to say thank you to everybody who came in the chat tonight. Let's go Celtics. Let's go Bruins. And one important thing for the Celtics here to kind of keep an eye on, and the Celtics fans within this series, let's continue to shut out Trae Young. He only had 16 points last week. He's got 10 right now at the half. They're making things hard for him. You're seeing a lot of pick and rolls. They're doubling him. Let's continue to do that, and you probably could see a sweep. I like the Celtics in 5, but let's go Celtics.
Okay, let's lock Trey down. Totally agree, Josh. Let's go. Let's keep it going on that aspect. That's the biggest part for this Celtics and securing that sweep, I believe, too. So let's keep Trey to a minimum. And as always, thanks everybody for watching. And hey, Combat, come over next time too. Always welcome some NHL NBA takes over there. So love to see you join. Love to have you comment some more. So appreciate that. And Josh mentioned, keep it short and sweet too. Let's go Bruins. Let's go Celtics.